In this tutorial, you will learn how to create a smooth top-down player movement and rotate your character toward the mouse cursor in Unity. Big thanks to Akhir K. Kasim Bikhua, its troll and Hector23 for supporting me on Patreon and grabbing my source code. Your support means a lot. Now let's jump straight in and build this step by step.
As you can see, I have added my player in the scene view and I have a rigid body 2D component, and I just set the body type to kinematic so it's not gonna fall down due to gravity. And we will create a script to move our player up and down and horizontally as horizontally. So we're gonna create a script for that. So go over to your project tab, assets, right click, create mono behavior script and name it to something like player movement or player, just like that. I already created a script called player, you can see. So I'm gonna attach that script and let's open that up by double clicking on it. And we have the start and the update function, you can see, and I included this fixed update function. So make sure you just do that as well, because we're gonna use this update function to get inputs, and we're gonna use this fixed update function to move our player. Whatever we do, like physics things, we need to do inside this fixed update function. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove this start function we don't need, and we're gonna gather some input. So let's do that. And for that we're gonna use input dot get axis function or get axis raw, and inside brackets it's gonna take the axis name, and you need to put inside quotation. So first thing we're gonna tackle with horizontal. So we're gonna pass horizontal and then close that up with semicolon. So this input dot get axis horizontal is just gonna check A and D key. Let's assume if you hold down A key, then it's gonna give us -1, and if you hold down D key, then it's gonna give us +1, and if we lift up both of our fingers, then it's gonna give us 0. So what we will do, we're gonna store it into a variable. So let's come at the top of our class and let's make a private vector2 parameter for this. So we're gonna make a private vector2, and we can call it move input or movement. Let's call it movement. I'm gonna call this one movement and close that up with semicolon. And now we just done that thing, and now we will set our movement dot x equal to this. And now we need to tackle with the vertical one. So we're gonna use input dot get axis, and inside quotation we need to pass the axis name. Now we're gonna tackle with vertical. So let's pass our vertical, and we're gonna set, and now it's gonna check with the W and the S key, and we will set our movement dot y equal to this. Now we have our movement dot x, as you can see we have the movement dot y as well, and we need a reference to this rigid body component so we can add the velocity of this player. So let's go over to our script and let's make a variable for that. So we're gonna make a public, the component we're looking for is a rigid body 2D, and we can call it RB, short for rigid body 2D. And also we need a parameter of our move speed, with how much speed we just want to move our player. So we're gonna make a public float, and I'm gonna call this one move speed. So let's call it move speed, and by default I'm gonna give a way bigger much value, something like 400 if, just like that. And now let's go over to this fixed update function, and over here we're gonna set the velocity. So we will set rb dot linear velocity, means the velocity of this rigid body of our player. And now we're gonna set equal to our movement. So set equal to movement, and make sure you just multiply with time dot fixed delta time, because you doing inside fixed update, or you can simply multiply with time dot delta time as well. But I'm gonna multiply time dot fixed delta time since we're doing fixed update, and also multiply with your move speed so you can just move a little bit faster. So I'm gonna multiply that and then close that up with semicolon. But the thing is that if you press down let's suppose you press down W and the D key at the same time, then this player will just gonna move diagonally a little bit faster than it's moving horizontally or vertically. You can use the Pythagoras theorem. Let's suppose one unit it's moved to the right, one unit it's moved to the up. So if you calculate the length diagonal, then it's gonna be something like it will be root over of 2. I mean something like 1.4. So you can see 0.4 means 42% extra we will move diagonally. To restrict that, we just need to normalize our vector. So after getting the input, what we can do, we can vector the normalize. So we will set movement dot normalize and then make this first bracket and then close that up with semicolon. Now even though we're gonna move diagonally, we will move at the same speed we moving up and down or horizontally. And now we need to save our script and let's navigate to Unity editor. Now let's take our rigid body, let's drag it over to this RB slot, and if your input is not working, then you can go over to top left file, build profiles, then click on this player settings, then go over to other settings, scroll down to the bottom and find out active input handling. So make sure it's selected both. If it's selected input manager or the new one, make sure you just click on this both and you are done. And I'm gonna cut this tab and let's go ahead and we're gonna play our game. Now we can see we moving up and down and diagonally we just moving at the same speed. So I hope you get the idea that how you can do it. Let's get out of play mode, and now we just need to rotate our player at the mouse cursor. So what we need to do, we just need to subtract our player position from this mouse position. So we're gonna get the direction, and by that direction we're gonna get the angle, and we will use this angle to rotate our player. So let's open up our player script, and to get the direction and the mouse position, let's go to top of our class and let's create a parameter. So we're gonna make a private vector2 and we're gonna call this one mouse position, or let's call it mouse pose. And the second thing, we need the direction, so let's make another private vector2 and let's call it direction. So let's call this one direction and let's go over to this update function. And now what we're gonna do, first thing, we just need to get the mouse position. So we will set our mouse pose equal to input dot mouse position. It means the mouse position, and it's gonna give us in world coordinate, but we need in inside screen coordinate. So we need to put in this over here into this. It's called camera dot main dot screen to wall point, and fit your mouse position there. And now it's gonna give us in screen coordinate. So this is our mouse pose, and we stored mouse pose into this mouse pose vector2. And to get the direction, we need to subtract our position. So we will set our direction equal to, so we need to subtract from our mouse pose. So we're gonna pass our mouse pose minus transform dot position, means the own position of our player. But this is a vector 3 and this is a vector 2, so we're going to convert this vector 3 into vector 2. To convert that, make these brackets and pass vector 2. Now it's gonna be a vector 2. So we just subtracting player position from this mouse position to get the direction, and now we have the direction. We storing the direction into this direction parameter, and we are ready to get the angle. To get the angle, so let's create a parameter for this. Let's create a float parameter and we're gonna call it something like angle. And to get the angle, we're gonna set we have to use this a mathf a tan 2 function, tan 2 function. And this a tan 2 function, it's gonna take the y and the x length of the direction. So we get the direction, so we're gonna put direction dot y, means the vertical, and direction dot x. If we divide them, then we're gonna get the angle. So first thing, it's gonna take the y, so we will put our direction dot y, and the second thing, comma, it's gonna take the x, so we're gonna pass direction dot x, means we dividing that. And now we just get the angle and close that up with semicolon. But it's gonna give us in radian value, so we need to convert into a degrees. To convert that, we simply need to multiply with mathf dot rate to deg. Now it's gonna give us degrees, and we have the angle, and we stored that angle into this angle parameter that we created. And now we need to rotate, and to rotate, we basically need to set the rotation of our player. So we will go to transform dot rotation. Let's set equal to this quaternion quaternion dot angle axis function, and this angle axis function as a first argument it's gonna take the angle. So let's pass our angle as a first argument. Second thing, it's gonna take the axis, in which axis you want to rotate. So if we navigate to Unity editor, select player, go over to transform, rotation, play around with the Z axis, we can see player is rotating. So we simply need to pass the vector 3 dot forward, means the Z rotation. So we're gonna pass vector 3 dot forward, it means the Z axis. Close that up with semicolon. If we go ahead, play our game, and indeed we can notice we just rotating our player at the mouse cursor rotation, we can see, and that's already seems fine. So I'm gonna get out of play mode. So I hope you get the idea that how you can do this, and I will see you in the next tutorial.